Hello.
Hello.
Mrs. Bonneville, where are we?
We're on Ciao Bella. Mr. B's roasting.
Time of filming this, it is the 3rd of March. It's quite sunny outside and we've got the fire raging.
It was very frozen this morning.
It was very frozen. It's very frosty. Sit on that seat properly. And we've only got one mic, so apologies about the sound.
Yeah.
How's your knee?
My knee's alright.
Mrs. Bonneville's still waiting for a new knee, God bless her. So yeah, we've just got the one mic. We've swapped onto the the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And we're just waiting on another mic to arrive. So apologies for the sound. For those that are new here, we are doing our monthly Q&A, where we answer your questions that you send in to us to this email address here. Mrs. B doesn't know any of the questions, and the cuckoo clock, which you probably won't hear. And also, we sometimes have to edit in terms of some of the language. And we also don't do politics, don't send any questions in on politics. We don't do anything about religion. We definitely don't do lodges or park homes, whatever they're called. And we don't do BMW, GSA motorbikes. Other than that,
everything else is
tied
fine.
up to you. Right, should we crack on, Mrs.
Yes.
B? Right, first question. Let's say Mrs. B generally doesn't know
Honestly,
what's
Not a clue.
coming up. So, Gail and Rob from Doncaster.
Oh.
Bloody love you two, and where the hell have you been? What's the last Q&A? We haven't been anywhere other than marriage guidance counselling. Don't joking.
It didn't work.
We so hope you're okay. Honestly, Gail, Rob, we're absolutely fine. We just
Thank
took a little bit of a break. If you do come back to YouTube, we'd love to ask you this. Well, we're back on YouTube, and here you go. We know you've never been out on the boat, but we have just taken delivery of our brand new narrowboat, Sundance. That's a nice name.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And plan to do as much of the network as possible for the next couple of years, and then come and live in a marina. Don't know where. What do you think? Do you know anyone else who has done it that way? Just keen to get your views, even though we know you've never taken your boat out. What do you think? What do you think that as an approach?
I think that's brilliant. Because, see, that's what we were going to do. We bought all those red book, what do you call them, Anderson's Guide or something like that.
Oh, the Nicholson's
Guide. And we bought them all, didn't we? We're going to plan and go all over the place.
The only place took our boat was to get diesel.
Yeah, so we didn't really move it at all. But I think that's a wonderful plan because you can do all the things. Somebody once said to me, and I can't remember who it was, that if you were to do all the networks in the UK, it would take you 7 years if you did it at a certain pace. So, so you might be doing it in 7 years.
Yeah, you know,
It's
Gail.
good.
Yeah, sorry, Gail, Rob. I think that's a really good idea.
it is.
We've got friends, Anne and Terry, who spend kind of 6 months on the marina, living on the boat, and then 6 months or so they take the boat out in the summer. So you know, bottom line is, however you want to do it, go do it. It's certainly, can't speak for Mrs. B, but it's one of my biggest regrets when we had our narrowboat not taking it out. You know, and for whatever reason we didn't take it out. So yeah, go do it. I think that's a really, really good idea. Yeah. And who knows? Who knows? You may go out for, you say, a couple of years. You may never come back. Who knows?
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you for the question.
Yes.
And thanks for the well wishes in terms of where we've been.
Thank you, yes.
Mark, I should have said also, we tend to do 10 to 12 questions per Q&A. Mark and John Davis from London. We love the channel and hope you pair are both okay. We've not seen you for a while. There's a theme coming. We're fine, but thank you.
Thank you.
We'd love to know who you book through with your Devon holidays, and if possible, could you please send us the link to that signal box? And a very cheeky question: how much was that place? It looked amazing. Mr. B, Mark would also love to know: do you miss not having a motorbike, and would you ever get another? If so, what would you go for?
Oh.
No, I don't miss having a motorbike, if I'm brutally honest with you. Although if you cut me down the middle, it's in my blood, biking. Who knows? You don't know what the future holds, do you? But no, I don't miss having a motorbike at all. If we were to get another one, because of my age now, I'd probably get a big, fat, massive cruiser. I've I've done that. We've both done that stuff. We loved every minute of it, didn't we? But no, we don't miss it. Mrs. B, Devon Holidays, who do we book through?
Is it booking?
Yeah, it's a good shout actually. We've done 2.
I'm going to say booking.com. If you can, nothing against booking.com or any of these sites, but a lot of people like you to book direct with them.
Yeah, they do. So you are right. And the only reason we got to do that with one of the properties last year is we'd been a couple of times,
Yeah.
and the owner just kind of approached us and said, "Look, here's my number. Obviously, we're not going to reference who it is because Booking.com might just be watching. Don't want to get into trouble.
No.
But yeah, he gave us his number. We've got his personal number now, and that one we booked direct through him a couple of times, didn't we? The signal box was through cottages.com.
That's it, yeah.
And the others have predominantly been through Booking.com. I don't mind saying the signal box was £1,800 for a week. Personally, I don't think it was worth it. It was a lovely property.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Beautiful, but I think £1,800. On average, we spend between, if we go for a full week, we spend between £700 and say £1,000, £700 and £1,000. I thought £1,800 was quite rich.
Yeah.
For what it was, but still a lovely property.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
And I'd recommend it in a heartbeat.
And it's lovely because you've got your own river and everything. Well, you've seen the vlog,
Yeah,
haven't you?
it's a beautiful property.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether it's worth all that. But anyway, thank you for your question.
Plenty of room as well in there.
Yeah, lovely. Really is really lovely property.
Yeah.
Richard and Jane Simmons from Port Sunlight on the Wirral. Mr. B. Before Jane took... I can't wait to read this. Can't wait to read this out for a number of reasons because Jane, you may or may not know this, right? Mr. B, before Jane took my name, she was known as Jane Roberts, and you trained her to ride a motorbike. She says she doesn't expect you to remember, but she was the one girl who knocked 3 of your school motorbikes over when driving out of the yard after a first day. She was in her dad's brand new Ford Escort car to make matters worse. She was that upset that you drove her home and told her dad it was you who damaged the new car when you were moving some of your bikes around. She says you were so amazing and you got her through both of her tests first time. She is now an instructor herself. Jane, I do remember. I remember it vividly. What you probably don't know, unless your dad's told you, is your father come round to my yard 2 days later and shook my hand and said he knew it was you that knocked his motorbikes over. So I really genuinely do remember, and congratulations on being an instructor.
Yeah.
That, I was trying to work out the other day, that's got to be about 25 years ago. So
wow.
I definitely do remember you knocking all of my Yamaha YR125s over with your dad's car. Can we please ask for your views on doing a round the world trip? We know the world has changed, but we'd love to get both of your views on it. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a motorbike, does it? I am currently, this is Richard, I am currently learning to ride at the ripe old age of 54. Listen, it's just a number, fella.
Just a number.
P.S. Please keep the vids coming, and hell yes, bracket in bold, sorry, for Mrs. B's PT's unforgettable glove review, Mrs. B. For that, we won't go into it. Would you do a round the world trip on a motorbike or another vehicle?
Yeah, but as long as we could take Kenneth with us. If you took Kenneth out of the equation, then obviously definitely yeah. But yeah, we'd have to include our Kenneth in it.
Yeah, you're right, Richard and Jane. You know, the world has changed. First time I ventured out was 1989. You didn't need garnets. You didn't need. Oh God, you could just cross. You did actually need a garnet. For those that don't know, that's a piece of paper for motorbike to go across a border. But it was a lot easier to do. You didn't have to go to a border and spend on a fixer as you do now. So the first time I went, it was easy. The second time I went, it was full of, as I say, spending money on fixers at borders. And that's been like that for 20 years. You're right, the world's changed. There's a lot of countries now, I'm not going to name them for obvious reasons, that I wouldn't dream of putting a motorbike wheel in, or a car wheel, or any other form of transport. I think if you pick your route right, yes, it's completely possible. You've one life, go live it. I've always banged on about one site, Horizons Unlimited. Grant and Sue Thornton, the most amazing people you'll ever meet. They are true adventurers, not just on a motorbike. So if you want to go and plan a trip, they've got fabulous resources on Horizons Unlimited. But yeah, just be careful. But it's like anywhere, you know, the UK is not a safe place. Nowhere safe, is it?
There's always places.
Which is sad.
If you haven't already read it, read Ted Simon's book when he went round the world on his Triumph in the 70s. When it was his 72 or 73 or something.
Mid-70s.
And that was the Arsian days, Asian. What's that word? Not Arsian.
we try.
Those what's the word I'm looking for?
Artisan, I don't know.
No, those lovely happy days when you could travel around the world.
Trouble-free and carefree, yeah.
It begins with H, I'm sure it does. Anyway, in the comments below, you know what word I'm looking for. I can't think of it. But Ted Simons wrote a lovely book about
Jupiter's Travels.
Jupiter's Travels. That's it. If you haven't read it, read it. Even if you're not a big bike fan, because he's very good at it.
I do love it. So yeah, Richard and Jane, look, just plan your route carefully. Have your wits about you. As I say, there's so many hints and tips on Horizons Unlimited for personal security, bike security, you know, all sorts of stuff. I just wish, you know, 30 years ago, as I say, the world was a different place, and I just wish it was like that now. Because I used to literally sleep next to the side of my bike. I wouldn't even think about doing.
Imagine doing that now?
No. I used to carry a tarp. That was it. But anyway,
I'd never do that.
Hotel
for me.
Hotel with 5 stars over the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, Kath and whatever that word is, seriously, pop it in the comments. Kath and Brian from Chester Street. Where's Chester Street?
That rings such a bell with me.
It's up north somewhere, innit?
Chester
forgive me.
Is it Leeds?
I don't know. Your vids are great, and the monthly question answer are the absolute business. Keep them coming. Thank you. That's a really, really nice thing to say, Kath and Brian. We would like to know, have you considered getting a little brother or sister for your amazing Kenneth? He is just such a beautiful looking dog. Cheers from Kath and Brian. Keep the vids coming, folks.
Oh, he's actually laid right down here underneath my legs at the moment. Yeah, we have thought about it, haven't we? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, at the moment, we just love him being fur parents, aren't we? Every day, we just in awe of him. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have thought about it. We've talked about it a few times. Yeah. Probably not just at the moment. Funny enough, today we've been we've been umming and ahhing about, do we stay in the boat for another 5 years? Do we buy another boat? I think what we've definitely decided today is, you know, come 12 months' time, we'll probably sell the boat, and we'll probably get a little bungalow with a garden, because what we really, really want is a garden for Kenneth. And
then we might get him a brother or sister.
I think we probably will get a little brother or sister then. Not that our boat isn't big enough to take another
we could
dog.
Have 2 or 3, can't we?
Yeah, the marina.
Yeah.
It's just, that is the only thing that's stopping me. It's just the garden. So, but yeah, watch this space. I think Kenneth would love a little brother.
Oh, he would, yeah.
I really do, yeah.
And I will have had my knee done by then, because he's quite strong. So,
he's very strong.
You've got to think that he's nearly 6 stone now, and he's very, very good, but he's still a strong dog. So, I've got to have my wits about me and not have a funny knee.
So, Kath and Brian, watch this space.
Thank you, yes, watch this space.
We'll probably call him Roger. Peter and Sylvia from St Albans.
Oh,
we both really enjoy the videos and haven't seen you both for a while. We do hope all is well with you. Absolutely. Thank you, Peter.
Now, yes.
Thank you, Sylvia. The marriage guidance counsellor said I was in the right over everything.
You know, that's complete rubbish.
We are of a similar age to you, and are seriously considering a change of direction and would like to buy a wide beam boat. Oh, God.
Let's buy this one in about a year's time.
Hold on for a year. We have viewed a number and have definitely decided that we would like an Aqualine because of the general fit and finish. Mr. B, Mrs. B, you're right. We would like to ask you both a couple of questions, if okay. Not a problem. Ordering a new one will see us having to wait around 2 to 3 years, which really did take us by surprise. Would you wait or go for a well looked after pre-owned boat? This one in the year. And if so, would you get it surveyed? Also love to know why you wouldn't recommend diesel stoves, please. Think this may have been covered before. Right.
We'll get a pre-loved one. I mean, this was pre-loved. This is my opinion. This is from my opinion. As long as it was looked after, then yeah, pre-loved one. I mean, the thing is, I know we're biased because it's our boat, but we genuinely have really looked after this boat. And if you're buying a pre-loved one, you'd want to buy it off someone that's really loved their boat. So that'd be.
Yeah, I tend to agree. We were both surprised, because say we looked at new, and yeah, there was about a 2 or 3 year wait list, certainly for an Aqualine, and that's one of the reasons, to be honest with you, that maybe not put us off, but has edged us closer to selling this next year and going back to land, because it's a long time to wait. But I do agree with Mrs. B. If you get a nice and well looked after, you won't go wrong. We've said many times, to put this in the water at the end of 2018 was £246,000. So versus what you can negotiate, I'm not doing myself out of pocket here, but what you can negotiate on boats now. So just think about that. And the other thing, not that you've asked, Peter and Sylvia, you don't buy a boat to make money. So just be aware of that. In terms of a survey, if you're going to spend upwards of £150,000, why you wouldn't get a survey is beyond me. Yeah. So get a survey. I was going to say it's a guarantee. It doesn't really guarantee anything except someone's looked at your boat, and if there's a fault with it, they point it out. But I would always get a survey. In terms of the diesel stoves, why would we not recommend one? I don't want to offend anyone.
No. But when we first bought Love Life Triumph, the narrow boat that we had, one of the things that I thought was so pretty on that boat, one was the purple kettle, but the other was the diesel stove.
We had a reflex.
It was beautiful. Yeah. It was absolutely beautiful, and it looked so nice. But in our opinion, this is just our opinion, it didn't warm the boat like the multi-fuel stove did. It just didn't warm it like that.
No.
We're now in a wide beam that's a lot bigger than the narrow boat, and it really does warm the boat. We've got the doors open at the moment because it's so warm.
And to put that in context, as you probably know, when we moved on to this boat, the stove was a diesel stove. We persevered with it for the first winter. Absolutely, I'm sorry, don't offend anyone, useless. It did not heat this boat at all. No. Also, you've heard me bang on about it, I hate having just one form of fuel. So on this boat at the moment, we've got a Webasto diesel central heating. We've got a multi-fuel stove that runs on coal. So if you can't get coal, guess what? You can put wood in it. So we've got 3 forms of heating at the moment, and we've got Dyson fans. So there are boats that I know that have just got one form of heating, and you only need, a few things to go wrong, and before you know it, you've got no way of keeping yourself warm. So just think about that. And also, if the marina, or if you're out cruising, you can't get fuel, how are you going to heat your boat? So there's all stuff like that to think about. And personally, I don't think you can beat the look of a proper coal fire.
Lovely.
It's beautiful.
Lovely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
But
good luck.
That's our opinion.
It is. It's just our opinion. We don't want to offend anyone.
Offend anybody.
Because I don't want to be saying next month we can't talk about stoves. So no hate mail. But Peter and Sylvia, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with your boat. If you've not found anything about a year, drop us an email.
We've looked after this one.
Looked after this. The only thing you can't take out of the boat is my wife and the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else on our mixer.
Yeah, my new mixer.
Like cattle. Right, Catherine Gerard from Southport. I have watched you both for a long time and never made a comment on the vlogs, and never mailed you to ask a question. Silly really, because sometimes you both have me crying laughing. Thank you. Catherine, that's a lovely thing to say. Why the hell have you not contacted me before?
Darren has me crying sometimes.
One of these silent watches, are you? Catherine's put, I would like to ask Mrs. B how she finds the Discovery to drive, because it's a big old vehicle, isn't it? I am currently looking at the smaller Discovery Sport. My brother-in-law's got that, and whilst it's a nice vehicle, I'm still drawn to the big bugger that you pair have. Comments please, Mrs. B.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. Now, we've got a Mini, and if I hadn't got a funny knee, then I would be driving the Mini more, but there's so much more room in the Discovery, and it's fabulous to drive. You sat in a great big armchair, And one of the things that I absolutely love is that you've got some buttons on the. You've got lots of buttons, but you've got some buttons on the side. So I'm number 2. So if I press number 2, it remembers exactly how I'm sat. So it pushes the chair forward, the steering wheel, everything is adjusted to exactly how I want it to be. So I'm not messing about moving the chair when he's been driving it. But it's lovely to drive. Absolutely lovely. I love it.
Yeah, a couple of things. Whilst, you know, I don't want to sound sexist at all, because Mrs. B can certainly handle a car. Yeah, she drives it perfectly well. The only thing I would say is the Discovery Sport that you've looked at. Yeah, I know we looked at one, didn't we?
Yeah,
and
a bit low.
Yeah, they're a bit low and they're a bit small. You're right. How do I say this politely? If you can go for the big boy, get the big boy. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
There's more power. There's more room. They're a little bit more luxurious. Go for the bit. You won't regret it. The only thing I will say, we had a similar-ish question, a couple of Q&As ago. Be prepared. They're not cheap to tax. It's £700 a year, and they're not cheap to run in terms of diesel. But I'm sure you've looked into that. The smaller ones are really cheap to tax. I think they're about £180, and the engines are tiny. They're only a 2 litre. So weigh that up. But if you are prepared to put your hand in your pocket to run it, trust us, you won't regret it.
Oh, I love it. I love getting it. It's like, sometimes I think it's like getting into a lorry. I feel a bit like a lorry driver when you're having to step up to get into.
You've heard me say many times, my mother, God rest her soul, she had 2, and she always used to say to me, you know, once you've driven one of these for a period of time, you won't want anything else. That wasn't my mum saying, it's not me saying they're the best cars in the world. They're not. But there's nothing to replace them as a 4x4.
Just lovely.
It just isn't.
And there's loads of room for Kenneth in the back. If you've got a dog or thinking about getting a dog, there's just I could sleep in the back with him. In fact, when we go down to Devon, I might do that next time.
Thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you.
If you do get one, drop us a little email, the picture. Gavin and Paula from Glasgow.
Oh, lovely Scotland.
You 3 are great, and Mr. B, keep being you and speaking your mind.
So encouraging.
we think you are the younger, brackets only slightly, illegitimate brother of Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes. If anybody's been on one of our social medias, I think it was Instagram that I put it on last week when we were in Devon. He's reading the menu and he's got my glasses on and he looks the image of Jeremy Clarkson.
I'll take that as a compliment. Mr. B, you are hilarious. And when you have a rant, you are so spot on all the time about whatever you're ranting about. Thank you. Look, I've said many times, I don't wake up to offend anyone. But if you're going to ask me a question, I'm going to give you my opinion. Don't ask you to agree with it, just respect it. I respect yours, I may not agree with it. That, for me, is how life works. But thank you. On one of your Derbyshire walks, you vlogged, it was Mr. B, to be precise, mentioned about getting a croft up in Scotland. Are you serious? If so, we think that would be amazing. Mr. B and Mrs. B in Scotland would be so cool. What's the plan? No.
We absolutely love watching. There's quite a few different YouTubers that we watch, and we like Colin and Sean Fox's Afloat. And they've gone up and they've got a croft, and watching them as they progress with the bees and the other animals, they've got a bird of prey, all sorts of things, and it's lovely and it's such a beautiful life that they've got. And me and Mr. B just love animals so much. We've often said if we won a lot of money on the lottery, we'd probably get a small holding, and we'd be that odd couple that take in the 3-legged donkey and the cat with one eye and stuff like that. We could never have a farm, me and Mr. B, because we would name all the animals and then we wouldn't be able to take them anywhere.
So no, look,
so
to
no,
be perfectly honest with you,
no.
If I was on my own in a heartbeat, but when you're married, you have to decide upon things as a couple. So no, but yes, if I was, ever, God forbid, to be on my own, I like my own company. So a croft for me is probably the most perfect place to live. But no, absolutely not. But thank you for the lovely comment.
They say opposites attract. You see, and I'm the sociable one, and Mr. B isn't.
It's not that I'm unsociable. I don't like blathering along all day. Stuart and Natalie from South Wales. Come on now, you pair. 9 exclamation marks. You let slip you had recently bought Mrs. B a new car. What did you go for, and what was up with that little sparky you had? P.S. Love the vids. Yes, we did. I'll clip some footage in here. I'll have to go and video it in a minute.
Oh,
But I'll clip some footage in. We bought a mini Cooper S Sport with the John Cooper Works kit on it.
Fabulous.
Love it.
Fabulous, yeah.
Absolutely love it. I've had loads of minis over the years, loads. And I just absolutely adore minis. So yeah, it's...
Yeah, and you know what? I know I keep waffling on about my bloody knee, but once that's sorted, you know, I'll be able to drive.
Getting it?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No, it's getting out of it.
No,
Not
yeah,
getting in, it's getting out.
No, it's lovely. Mrs. B started test driving the Mini Countryman, and secretly I was hoping that she didn't like it. Nothing wrong with Countrymans, but yeah, we've gone for the Cooper S Sport. Absolutely great little car.
She moves.
Great little car.
Yeah, she does move. And funnily enough, talking about minis, when we've come back from our walk this morning, we've come back onto the marina, and what's at the marina?
Yeah, a little mini meetup.
Yeah, lots of different minis.
So thank you for that question, Stuart and Natalie. 2 to go. We're doing very well here. I'm trying to keep these quite concise because I'm conscious they get quite long. So, Martin Hooper started to watch you recently and like the channel. I've subscribed. Welcome to the Madhouse, Martin.
Thank you very much.
Would like a little advice if possible.
Oh.
Advice. We don't give advice. It's just an opinion.
Yes.
Okay. So please, it's just our opinion. Completely understand if unable to point me in the right direction now. So, just started the process of looking at wide beams, and the one I like the look of doesn't have a cover on the back or the well deck. Can you recommend a company, and do you know roughly how much they cost? We'll do these one at a time. So, Titan boat covers.
Titan.
There's other brands available. We say that because on our narrow boat we had the front well deck done and the back done by Titan. Couldn't fault them.
Do you know what's nice about them too? Well, a lot of things that's nice about them. They're very approachable, but they use a machine, and this machine it costs so much money, and it sends like lights. So
lasers.
That's it. Halcyon days. That's what I was looking for earlier. Halcyon. So it uses laser. So the precision of your canopy is just. It fitted lovely, didn't it?
Yeah, they fit well. They're a nice company to deal with. In terms of cost, on our back deck, so we've got the Explorer back deck. It's slightly larger. Anywhere the complete cover with the frame, you're looking around about, I'd say, £8,000 to £9,000. The front, you're probably looking about £3,000 to £4,000. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I'd feel comfortable sharing on this boat in terms of the cost. That's your first question. 2 bedrooms or 1? Sorry if this has been asked before. Oh God. For us, 1.
We at 1. You know, when family come to visit and stuff, they come and visit and then they go home.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's true.
No, that's what they do.
Look at the space.
Yeah.
That's why I went for 1 bed. 70 foot if you can afford it. 1 bed if you want space. That's what we love about ours.
And you've got room if you wanted to have a sofa,
oh my God,
a sofa bed.
Yeah, you could put a sofa bed.
In fact, when did we? What were we? Oh, you would varnish the bed. So we brought the mattress in here, didn't we? And the mattress is a super king size bed. And Mr. B was, as he does with it. This is why the boat's well looked after. He was varnishing the base, so we had to sleep on the mattress in here, and it's a super king size, and it was perfect. It was like going back to camping days. I felt like a girl guide.
So yeah, for us, 1 bedroom. Absolutely. It depends on your needs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you need 2 bedrooms, go look for a 2 bedroom.
Yeah. And there's some lovely ones, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. But make sure it's 70 foot if you want space.
Think about your everyday living, what you're going to do every day. And for us, this space is just brilliant.
Yeah. Multi-fuel stove or electric fire?
Multi-fuel.
Electric fires look pretty. You've heard me say it before if you've watched the channel. They look pretty. They just chuck heat at you. That's it. Multi-fuel. Just get a stove. Trust us. We've lived on boats now for 4 years. Get a multi-fuel stove.
So
you won't regret it. Thank you, and I do appreciate it's just your opinion. Martin, good luck with your boat search.
Good luck.
As we've said to the other, leave it here if you've not got one. Drop us a little email. 150, 155. Jobs are done.
2 very careful owners.
Yeah.
No, 3. It's Kenneth.
Yes.
3 very careful owners.
2 really. Mrs. B doesn't. I'm joking. Final question. Paul and Amanda Henderson from Lichfield. We absolutely
That's not
love
far away.
we absolutely love the channel and love watching Kenneth. He's such a handsome boy. He is.
Thank you.
We're very
We
biased,
agree.
but we think he's
The best.
best. We have good friends who are currently living the best life on a wide beam in a lovely marina. They've asked us not to mention it. Not a problem. We would love to do the same thing, but are so worried about losing money on a boat should we need to ever sell and get back to land. Is this why so many people end up in a lodge or similar because house prices are so silly at the moment? Help. 11 question marks. What would you suggest, you pair? And please, Mr. B, don't hold back, because we really do like listening to you take on life. Mrs. B, brackets, how do you put up with him? Another question for Mrs. B. Have you missed anything about living in a house? Oh, an extra PS. If people think living in a marina on a wide beam is a cheap way of life, then they are so wrong, aren't they? We've looked at the prices. Right. Where do you start with this?
So when you buy a boat, you said on the last but one question that you don't think you're going to make a lot of money. It's not like buying a house and you can double it. You could, we're hoping that when we do come to sell Ciao Bella,
we will make money on this.
We'll make some money. It depends on how much you pay for it in the first place.
Yeah.
And we always say, always, there's room for negotiation when you're buying a boat. The other party can always say no. So never be afraid to negotiate. Never. If you put in a silly offer, then you'll get a silly answer back. But don't be afraid to negotiate. So you can, depending on a fair wind and whatever the other saying is, whether you're going to make a big profit. I don't know. I'm waffling.
I don't know where she's going with it. I think. Look, the way we did it is we went into this not wanting or expecting to make money.
Yeah.
We bought a brand new narrowboat for not a budget price. We tested the water, excuse the pun.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate because at the time boat prices were just silly. We made money on a narrowboat when we sold it. As a lot of people did a couple of years ago. We bought this. We negotiated hard. I wasn't rude, but I was very clear in terms of what we were going to pay for it. Now, this boat was worth £150,000 all day long, and we will make money on that. I'm just being honest with you. But not a lot of people do. We've got folk that we know that, in my opinion, have lost an awful lot of money on selling boats, and that's just the way life is. But Mrs. B's right, don't buy a boat to make money. It's not like property. We bought our boats because we love this way of life. Now, I know folk will be sitting there going, oh yeah, but you spoke. Just move on. We don't look at boat life for that reason. To your point in terms of moving back into a lodge or whatever, I kind of slightly disagree with that. We looked at lodges 18 months ago down in the Cotswolds that were £400,000. So yes, there are lodges out there that are considerably cheaper, and maybe people do that for that reason. But there are lodges out there that are, when we looked at those in the Cotswolds, I said to Mrs. B, for me, I'd rather go and spend that on bricks and mortar, which is what we'll do. That's not me knocking lodges. No. It really isn't. But yes, you can certainly jump off a boat into a lodge
and it's
for a very good price.
And it's that environment still, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
whatever the moment, you want to do.
For the last 4 years, we love living here. And if we had to live here another 4 years, I'll be absolutely fine with that. It's just that we're starting to think now, aren't we, about land and him.
We want a dog. We want a garden for Kenneth. If we hadn't got Kenneth, I think would still be here for at least 5 years. I think. I really do. I actually think we will probably end up getting a new boat. But because we want a garden for Kenneth, let's be clear about it. That's why we're going.
Another little.
Yes, absolutely. So, where was I? So yeah, look, yes, you can go buy a lodge for 150 grand, not a problem. But equally, you can spend 400 grand on a lodge. So let's just put a bit of check and balance in that. And in terms of, taking that leap, go do it. But if you're worried about your boat losing money, don't do it. Just don't do it.
It possibly will.
Because there's a very good chance it will. If you buy a new boat, you ain't going to make money on it.
But we've loved this lifestyle.
Love it, love every minute of it.
Yeah.
And also, you're absolutely right, it's not a cheap way of life. I've said before, just to breathe and float in this marina is £1,050 a month for us. That's our mooring fees and our CRT, Canal River Trust licence, £1,050. So if anyone watching this, or you've got to the end watching this, thinking it's cheap living on a Y beam in marina, it isn't. It's cheaper living on a Y beam if you're a continuous cruiser. Don't get me wrong, you haven't got mooring fees.
Yeah. We're paying for where we're living.
Yeah. So you've got to think about that. You know, £1,000 on land, you know, with community, whatever it's called, what's it called? Council tax. And your utilities. You know, that's why I think a lot of people are leaving marinas at the moment, because they're probably thinking, oh, I can maybe live for half of what I'm paying on them. That's fine, not a problem. But just weigh it all up.
Yeah.
Because it's a tough decision.
Yeah.
It really is a tough decision. But if anyone asked me in a heartbeat, I wouldn't have a second hesitation.
It's one of the best things we've ever done.
It's a great way of life.
It is a lovely way of
truly
life.
is.
Yeah.
And final point before we wrap up, if I could find a mooring with a garden, never sell it. I would never sell this boat. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah.
I just wouldn't.
We were watching
Weldeck
Diaries, and they've got a fabulous mooring there with a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. That's great for Debs to sit out and have a sunbathing and the dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect.
Yeah. So that's the only reason we are, you know, I say this time next year this boat will probably be for sale, and that's the only reason. It's got nothing to do with the marina, nothing to do with the fees, just no garden. So anyway, I've wathered on.
Yeah.
Paul and Amanda. That is it for this month. I hope you've enjoyed it. As usual, keep your questions coming in. We've got enough for 2 more of these, so I'm going to start to ask to drop a few questions down.
Anything at all?
Yeah, anything other than politics, religion, lodges and motorbikes.
Well, we did answer a lodge one.
Right.
In a way around
Mrs.
that
B,
one.
say goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm waffling and Mr. B's hot.
Yes.
When he's hot, it's like when he's hungry.
Yes.
Did they call it when
I
you're
don't know what they call it.
hungry?